Okay, champions, listen carefully, because what you are seeing happen with Bitcoin and Ethereum right now is not a coincidence. This is a masterclass in market manipulation by the big players, and if you're not paying attention, you'll get completely blown away. But good news, you're getting the inside scoop here. We have funding rates that tell you the masses are asleep, for example. And the liquidation heat map shows that as soon as Bitcoin hits $100,000, shorts get completely wiped out. And then those Bitcoin exchange reserves are draining. Yes, we are literally talking about a huge supply shock that is coming, and that no one is discussing further, and that no one sees coming. And oh, let's also talk about the DXY breaking support. That's code for crypto is going to explode. Combine that with a declining USD dominance, and all you need to do is not stand on the sidelines like a clown. In this video, this is not standard bullish talk. This is the complete picture of why Bitcoin and Ethereum are about to make history again. So either you watch along and win, or you stay where you are and look back regretfully later. It's completely your choice. Hey champ, great that you're watching another new video. In this video, we will discuss Bitcoin and Ethereum, both extremely bullish, a number of on-chain metrics you need to see, and also the chart and my view on this, because I think we are going to see the opposite of what everyone else will see. And instead of getting a big dump now, we are first going to get a big push upward. The market often does the opposite of what the masses think, and that is what the masses think now. Additionally, we are actually technically very strong on the charts, which I will show you shortly. Before we dive into that content, two things. On my Instagram, I often get a lot of bans. I can't chat with you, can't DM, my content gets removed. I don't know why. Maybe because it's crypto. Twitter, completely different story. I can do what I want there. I can say what I want. I enjoy it much more, and I share a lot of alpha there, meaning charts on which you can make seriously good trades. For example, this undo chart that was below the all-time high, which broke out afterwards with a huge bang, where you could have made trades. SUI has bounced. The same story. FET has bounced. Render has gone up significantly. These are all serious analyses that you can follow completely for free. So if you have X, I will put the link in the description, then you can follow me there. If you don't have X yet, quickly create an account and give me a follow, even if it's just for that info, because you learn a lot from it. And the second thing, with BLOFIN, we now have a Black Friday promotion, which is still ongoing. You get 10% back on your deposits up to a $30,000 deposit. You can get $3,000 back. If you deposit $1,000, get $100 back. If you deposit $5,500, you get $1,000 back. It's all nice to have, so it applies to existing users and new users. If you don't have an account yet, you can create one via the link in the description. Alright, starting with Bitcoin. And I think this is a really nice chart to show, because it immediately shows that we haven't really had a dip. Additionally, it is normal to dip or have corrections in a bull market. Here you can see, this is where the bull market started in 2016 dip. We have seen another dip after that, a dip. We always get those pullbacks, and those pullbacks are always opportunities to strengthen positions again or to re-enter the market if you've taken profits somewhere. That's why you always want to have UCT liquid when you're on the sidelines so you can re-enter. You see the bull market here, and this is also nice. This is exactly the point from November to December where we had a small sideways / downward movement, only to then shoot up strongly again, small pullback, then shoot up strongly again. And you can see that now as well. In November and December, we had a small sideways movement, a small downward movement. But what the big players, the whales, perhaps even in collaboration with exchanges like BlackRock and Fidelity, often do is make sure you get exhausted. We talked about this months ago during the bear market. They go on for as long as possible and try to get into your head. You start thinking, well, are we going to get that big dip? Is it coming? We can't get past 100K. First, we will get that correction. They try to get that into your head, causing you to sell. At the moment, when as many people as possible have been shaken out, they will push those prices up, because the same parties that are currently keeping those prices down will also ensure that it goes up hard later. And that is what they are trying to do now. They are trying to exhaust you. And I see it everywhere. I see it in YouTube comments. I see it on Instagram, which is always a good gauge, so to speak. I see that everyone is now expecting that correction. And what you have always seen in the past years is that the opposite happens of what the large mass expects. As you indicated earlier, we will probably go just over 100K and then see a correction. It can still happen, but I think we might even go further, like 110, 120K. before we eventually see that correction, because the mass is expecting it now. And so first, what you are already seeing a lot happening, which I will show you on your chart, is that many people are being shaken out, and that we will then get a significant upward movement. I will show you that in a moment as well. What is important, in addition, is this liquidation heat map. You see around that $100,000, there are hundreds of millions in liquidations. So that means when the price reaches there, all short traders will be stopped out. Because there are stop losses, liquidation prices, everything is at that level. That is where by far the most liquidity lies. And that often works as an action magnet, meaning that price is often drawn and moved towards it. Simply retrieving that liquidity there can cause it to become a short squeeze. Funding rates are relatively healthy. They are neutral to slightly positively leveraged, but actually very healthy for where we are now, with a Bitcoin around $95,000, $98,000. There are still not many over-leveraged positions, and that is because so many have been liquidated in the past period. Because there is a lot of market manipulation. The price shoots up, down, down. Sharp movements to continuously knock people out, and to bring these funding rates back to a somewhat neutral level, which is good for the market for further upward movement. So that is the first signal. Looking at Bitcoin, we are at the all-time high of 99,000. Well, what was it? Around 99,600 all-time high, let's say 100,000, where we are moving below. If we had really seen a big correction at that $100,000, we would have gone much lower. We could have really dropped 20% towards that $79,000 somewhere. But the longer you actually stay trading below that important level, and you saw that all the time back at that 10K, trading below it, and at the moment we just got over it, the price shot up all at once with all the volume. And you see that now too, we are simply hanging just below that $100,000. This indicates that there aren't many sellers, and what you see as sharp movements downward is simply market manipulation. These are the market makers, possibly in collaboration with exchanges and large parties who want to shake out as many retail investors as possible, while buying in as much as they can, before the price actually breaks above 100 and continues to surge. So that is one of the most important things we are seeing right now, and why it is actually bullish. Furthermore, if you purely look at the pattern on the 4-hour chart, if you set a price target there, you end up at $108,000 again. But you can also see it as a bubble. A bubble is, of course, quite significant, especially in this case. You could say that we are targeting around $120,000 here. I think it is very possible for Bitcoin, especially as long as we continue to consolidate below this level, because that is actually what is happening. And you see that manipulation is continuously taking place, for example here. That candle shoots up hard, people go long, and that candle comes down just as hard in the same way, and everything gets wiped out again. That is purely to exhaust you, and they often succeed very well at that. What do we see besides that? Exchange supplies, so they drop incredibly hard. What does that mean? All Bitcoins are leaving the exchanges, as you can see here on the side. All Bitcoins are leaving the exchanges, going down, the price goes up. There is increasing demand towards Bitcoins, increasingly less available. So there will come a moment when there are no more over-the-counter transactions. Everything truly comes to the market. And at that moment, you would see that the price makes a big jump, and that supply and demand would balance out again, so to speak. So it is very interesting to see this moment. Furthermore, Bitcoin monthly returns in a bull market year, and in a year when the US elections are the elections in America. For example, like in 2016, where November was 5% and then December 30%. For example, in 2020, November 42%, December 46%. For example, in 2020, November 42%, December 46%. For example, in 2020, November 42%, December 46%. Let's see, at the moment we are in a bull market year and the elections in America are happening. December is usually very good. Now we are at minus 1.21%, but it is the 3rd of December. You can expect a small correction or a small sideways movement, maybe down 3%, down 5%. The first maybe 2 weeks of December to then fully make up for the month and have a green December. Doesn't have to be green the whole month to actually make it a green month. But generally, when we look at history, December is very good. Additionally, the fear and greed index is dropping, so Bitcoin is at $96,000 and people are starting to feel a bit more fear. This is all related to people expecting that dip. And again, often the opposite happens. USDT dominance is now starting to drop below the horizontal support. That is bullish for crypto. especially if we actually see that real break, so that we indeed get a lot of bearish candles below it. And if we have actually broken the upward trend that has been established since 2017, it will give a huge boost to the market. Let's look at the DXY. Normally when the DXY goes up, crypto drops. Well, we haven't seen that with this increase in the recent period. So it wasn't really correlated. Normally that does happen. You want to see that this chart is also bearish. Well, we broke above resistance. We found support there, which was actually bearish for crypto. But what you see now is that we had a big candle through the support. We are now getting a rejection from that level here as well. So we get a retest, we break through, retest, resistance, and it seems that we are going down also on this chart. What is also bullish for crypto, so that looks good. Ethereum, and just remember, this is the weekly chart. So we have the high in the bull market in 2021 here. Then we draw a trend line over it. We find resistance once in February this year. We find resistance in May this year. And now we find resistance again above this local high where we held support. At the moment, we indeed break this resistance. There are still two important levels, and those are, of course, these highs here. At the moment, they break out. For Ethereum, if we break those two peaks here, then it looks very good for Ethereum, and the all-time high is definitely the next level, $4,600. But what is interesting to see is that we are getting a golden cross on the weekly chart, meaning the 200-day moving average comes back below the 100-day moving average, which is a bullish signal. And when we calculate targets, we of course have the target of this pattern, which is a symmetrical triangle. If it breaks out on the downside, we end up with a target of around $7,500. Looking at Fibonacci, we draw it from the top interest 21 to the bottom in the bear market. We end up at exactly the same level here. And that is the $7,500. I am convinced that Ethereum can go to $7,500 and even to the 2618 or just before that. Reaching $10,000 for Ethereum should be quite possible. But it looks very good for Ethereum. So don't write it off yet. See that a lot of people hate on Ethereum. Also many large channels, influencers who are writing off Ethereum. But I also think Ethereum is a coin that is heavily suppressed. For example, a Trump has more Ethereum than Bitcoin. Why is that, is the question. And why does the price remain so low? Do they want to accumulate as much as possible before the price really starts to shoot up? I keep buying more Ethereum. I definitely have confidence in it. Looking at the ETFs, we also see that the big players have confidence in it. We had 332 million in inflows and instruments on November 29th, while Bitcoin had 320 million. In other words, there is more interest in Ethereum at the moment. Do you see that reflected in the price? Not really yet. Nothing special has happened yet. We are still in that pattern. Yes, Ethereum has gone up, but it hasn't reached any crazy levels yet. For example, in May this year and in March this year, we were even higher, while other coins are going up tremendously. So I think Ethereum is a very good play, and also that Bitcoin will go higher, and I think that correction will happen later than people expect. Well, that was it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please like it, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet, leave a comment, and hopefully I'll see you back in the next video.